There's a type of home buyer that gets hurt in Naples that you never really expect. They've probably closed billion-dollar deals in their career, and they walk into a home purchase here in Naples and lose 6 figures on something that nobody warned them about. And I gotta tell you, it's not because they're greedy or that they got bad advice. It's because Naples operates on 2 markets, and you can't see those figures in the price tag. I've been doing this for a long time. There are 6 types of homes in Naples that catch people off guard. Some of them I would buy with my own money with the right documentation, and others I would have my own family walk away from. Today, we're gonna talk about which is which. I'm Nick Schmidt. You can call me New Home Nick, and every week I help people relocate to Naples, whether they're looking at luxury beachfront condos or high-end pre-construction communities. If you have any questions along the way, leave them in the comments, and don't be afraid to reach out. Let's get into it. Before we get into the 6 types, I need you to understand why Naples has more of these traps than other markets in the United States has. And once you understand why, the rest of the video is going to make a lot more sense. The geography in Naples is unforgiving. Naples is wet, and the Gulf is to the west. And we have canal systems in Naples Bay that cut through areas like the moorings and Aqualane shores, but it also inflicts those same areas with the damages that the FEMA flood zones puts on these properties. In short, the address that you're paying a premium on also comes with an incredibly high insurance bill. We have ranch homes that were built in 1965 that have different building codes, different building materials, and they're sitting right next door to a new construction home built post-2020. These 2 very different homes have very luxurious price points, and they're sitting together on the same block. The climate here is doing damage that you just really can't see. Florida has been rated by the USDA as essentially ground zero for termites. We have things to take care of that. The USDA calls out Florida as Region 1, the highest area for termite infestation in the country. And Naples is consistently called out as being one of the highest rated areas for that problem. There are solutions to that problem, and that's kind of the point of this video. Add to the fact that we get 40 inches of rain per year, high humidity, and we're known for hurricanes. My point here is a home that is neglected for 2 seasons can easily be compromised, if that makes any sort of sense. Also, the luxury market here adds a complexity that most people don't see coming. We're dealing with luxury HOAs that are managing multi-million-dollar asset lists. We also have community development districts where we're paying back for amenities that were put in place by the government, essentially. And of course, there's those condos that get hit with multi-million-dollar special assessments. I guess my point here is some of these luxury homes and markets don't have predictable monthly pricing. Let's start with the trap that hides in the most prestigious addresses in town. House type 1 is flood zone properties. So we're not talking about a specific neighborhood per se, but like an area along the coastline of Naples or Collier County. I'm walking through one of the most prestigious areas or neighborhoods in Naples. I'm in Old Naples right now, and behind me, a few blocks away, there are some pretty intricate canal systems. And these waterways are aspects to the neighborhood or area that really adds to the prestige and the price point and the desirability of these homes in the first place. Anyways, these flood zones are categorized by their elevation. And depending on that elevation certificate, you're gonna be either hit or not hit by a pretty substantial flood insurance bill. Let's concentrate on VE and AE flood zones. Flood zone AE is the common high elevation flood zone where, yeah, your home's in the flood zone, but it's not as high a priority to the insurance companies as the VE. VE is for high velocity flood zone. Let's look at that as coastal properties that are known to be taking winds and flooding head-on. I've said this before many times. It is not uncommon for folks who own in these VE high-velocity coastal homes to forego insurance completely. We had a horrendous flood a couple years ago, but before that, it was in the 60s when it happened. So with that in mind, you can kind of understand how a homeowner down here might forego paying $15,000 a year for flood insurance, and instead, when a flood happens, end up just paying the $45,000 it costs to totally remediate their house. New Home Nick, what can we look for in regards to flood zone insurance exposure? Well, the main thing we're going to want to look at is elevation certificates. We want to see one, and if we don't have one, we want to get one so that we can prove to the insurance companies that we are in a more desirable elevation than maybe they think we are. All right, another alternative would be to consider different areas entirely. There are communities up in North Naples, like Pelican Bay, that are just naturally at a higher elevation and less exposed to the flood zone risks, but they still maintain that luxury atmosphere. The next topic is a trap that's been hiding in plain sight in the luxury condo market, and the bills are just starting to land. Housing type 2 is condos with underfunded HOAs and special assessment. I want to have a little bit of a story time. I want to talk to you about a deal that I was just working not too long ago. I had a client who found a perfect condo with a wonderful golf view. They loved everything about it. HOA fees were about $850 a month. We asked for the special assessments coming forth. We asked for the structural reserve study, and we got everything we needed. Sometimes it's that easy, sometimes it's not. But the story that unfolded is essentially that the association of that condo was deferring maintenance for like the past 15 years. When these laws came out for special reserve studies, their hand was forced by the federal government essentially to resolve these matters. And that put 200 owners in this condo with a $75,000 special assessment bill to pay. Long story short, my client passed, but who knows what the next buyer who came along did. I haven't actually looked up this property, but I'm in Old Naples, and this is a really good example of someone buying a home for the value of the dirt. They may have paid $4 million for the earth underneath this old coastal home, and they're gonna tear it down, and I bet dollars to donuts, they're gonna throw up some huge luxury Key West style, new construction, beautiful home in its place. Commonplace here in Old Naples. But here's what actually happened. In 2021, the tragedies in Surfside, Florida happened. A high-rise condo essentially collapsed. 98 people were killed. And we all know what happens after horrendous tragedies take place. Laws come into effect. And that's where my story comes into play. That high-rise condominium had deferred the maintenance that needed to happen over the past 20 years or so. These aren't reasons not to buy a condo in Naples. There are plenty of beautiful opportunities for that. We just need to pull out our magnifying glass, look very closely, and do our due diligence. So what does this mean for us when we're looking at condos like this? Well, it means we need to do our due diligence. We need to actually walk the hallways, make sure we don't see paint peeling. Items of duress like that are big signals towards future assessments coming into play. We need to make sure that we're doing our due diligence in terms of asking for reporting, milestone inspections, structural reserve studies, SIRs. Because these structural reserve studies are due every 20 to 30 years, it's not a red flag if a building doesn't have one yet. Now, some of these buildings have been newly constructed with these structural reserve studies in mind, right? Like they've faced the problem before it even occurred. But some of these condos are young enough to not necessarily need one. So kind of we're walking in blind. But we could send in some inspectors and get a little bit more thorough opinions. The best alternative, though, is to look at buildings that are under 15 years old. These are buildings that, like I said already, have already taken into account the milestone inspection and the structural integrity reserves. If you want that condo lifestyle, but you don't want to pay for these reserves, we could also be looking at 2 and 3 level condominiums that cap out at 3 levels because they're exempt from these milestone and structural reserve studies just due to the height of the building. I will say those homes typically aren't the luxurious lifestyle you're looking for, but oftentimes we can find them in areas or markets that you're eyeballing. In short, that's not really where most luxury buyers are looking, but it might be worth looking at. Now, before I get into house type 3, I want to talk about a free resource that I built for buyers who want to get it all mapped out before they even start shopping. Yes, I know it's windy and my hair is blowing all over the place. Look, Every relocator is different. The relocator from Boston is not looking at the same Naples neighborhoods as the relocator from Scottsdale, Arizona. And because of that, I built this free relocation guide to Naples, Florida. It's in the description below. Use it, check it out, and start to uncover some of the ideas and nuances of Naples and try to get a vibe of what works best for you. Additionally, never be afraid to reach out to me. I love having those conversations. Housing type 3 is going to be new construction communities with hidden CDD fees. New construction is seductive for many reasons. They usually have modern finishes, updated appliances, high ceilings, luxury finishes. Typically, you can pick your view. Maybe you want a golf course or a preserve. They come with warranties on the structure and the appliances and electronics inside the home. All of these are very good reasons to buy a new construction home. But when we start researching new construction, we need to be wary of CDDs down here in Naples, Florida. Because a lot of these developers take money from the government to build the infrastructure for these communities. And it could be very easy for someone to fall in love with a community without realizing that there's a $2,600 CDD fee on their tax bill every year. Now, in my experience, my clients who are spending more than $1 million on a new construction home don't tend to bat an eye at a $2,600 CDD fee. But that same person does not like to be sideswiped by money they didn't need to spend or weren't expecting. When we're looking at Naples as a whole, there are CDD communities all over the place. Laley Resort, Fiddler's Creek, Winding Cypress. The list actually goes on and on. If it's a new construction area in an area of Collier County that hasn't really been developed yet, chances are there's a CDD. What we need to look for here is actually pretty straightforward. There's two things. In a new construction community where you're actually buying a home or a brand new spec home, we just straight up need to ask the sales rep, hey, is there a CDD fee here? Chances are I already know if there's a CDD, so don't be afraid to text me and ask me that. The other side of it is new construction communities that have already been buttoned up or they kind of just finished building, right? They still might have their 20 or 30-year CDD on their tax bills. In that case, again, I probably already know about it, so please just give me an ask. If you're trying to forego using an agent in your research phase, I understand that. Pull up the tax bills on some of the homes in that area and just get an idea of the line items that they're having to pay for. All right, another thing we want to ask about, especially when we're dealing with the developer, is the opportunity for prepayment on the CDD. Some developers actually offer prepayment where you can pay for the years of the CDD fee up ahead of time. You might even get a discount. Some developers don't allow this. For the right buyer, this makes sense, i.e., the buyer who's actually going to spend 30 years in this home. If you're looking for a better alternative to a community with a CDD, then we need to look at well-established luxury communities that have either surpassed their CDD timeframe, paid it off, or they never had one to begin with. Old Naples, Coquina Sands, Pelican Bay. There are luxury markets all over Naples that don't have a CDD fee. But I think the best route is to just factor in the cost when we make our offer on a home that has one. I mean, after all, it's not really a hidden fee if you know about it ahead of time, right? The next one is a Naples problem that's eating homes from the inside out, and most buyers don't even know that it's happening until the inspection report comes in. The USDA rated Florida Region 1 for termite activity. It's very heavy. And honestly, just pest control in general is a very important thing down here. We have a warm climate, it's very humid, it's kind of a hotbed for pests and subterranean pests. So if you're buying a home that's pre-1990s, we need to take that very seriously. Very thorough with our inspections, digging deep, if you will. New home Nick, why does this matter? It matters because termites can devastate a home. They can eat through drywall, wood. In some cases, they even eat through plastic. And the real problem here lies in the fact that we are in a very seasonal market. A lot of the homeowners here in Naples don't spend half of the year in their Naples home. That leaves the home open to being compromised by pests. All right, and here's the real deal. Your homeowner's insurance isn't going to pay for the damage caused by termites. They look at this as a maintenance issue and not like a cost of peril. Repair costs on this can run from a few $1,000s on a very local issue up to $50,000 on a heavy structural issue. And you're probably asking yourself, what do I look for? Well, honestly, that's why we bring in a solid home inspector, and I've got some. From just native Florida experience, this doesn't have to be a huge issue. Most pest control companies are gonna urge you to use subterranean pest control around your home. They kind of look like little sprinkler heads or something. And that's gonna resolve most of the issues for us. Now, I think we've got two more, so stick with me. But these last two are two topics that surprise luxury buyers the most. House type 5 is pre-construction, new construction with builder risk. This one's probably gonna surprise you guys because I sell a lot of new construction homes. And before I really dig into this, just like every other topic I've talked about, there are good and there are bad everything, right? There's good teachers and bad teachers. Well, guess what? It should be no surprise to you that there are good builders and there are bad builders. But pre-construction in Naples, that sounds like a dream to most people. You pick your home, you customize it. It's not exactly what it is next door. It's exactly what you want it to be. You can change your bayfront windows, add a third car garage, pick your view, have a preserve or a golf. You really want that sunset view? It's yours. You just have to get in when the getting's good. All of that is super seductive, and I get it, and there's a reason I sell a ton of it. Every builder is gonna have a beautiful portfolio to share with you, but we want to know, how long have they been building homes in Naples specifically? Can we talk to past buyers? How their on-time rate for delivery? And maybe even like what happens to your deposit if they were to default? And then here's my hidden tip. Hire your own general inspector. Do it during the drywall phase and during the finishing phase, and make that a absolutely non-negotiable so that we aren't relying on the builder's inspector, we're relying on your own. A better alternative to this one would be spec homes that are already built and pumped out by reputable builders who have been building in Naples for years and years. House type 6 is luxury condos with high-risk hurricane exposure. When you buy a condo, especially a coastal condo in Naples, you're not just buying a view, you're buying the association and all of its costs that lie underneath that. So this topic is all about the insurance risk. And here's the part that catches buyers off guard. Hurricane insurance isn't priced the same as regular homeowners insurance. It's priced separately, it has its own deductible, and it's priced by a percentage of the home's insured value. Let's talk about the math. Florida law allows insurers to apply a separate deductible to a luxury condo, sometimes 2 to 5% of the home's insured value, not the home's value, the insured value. Look, I'm not an insurance broker. I want to hook you up with one. So if you need to talk to one, just let me know and we will have a really awesome conversation with the most professional people in Naples. Now, what do we need to look for? I think the biggest thing we need to look for is the structure of the home actually. There is a big difference between condos that were built with the building code of 2002 versus the condos that were built with the building code back in the 1970s and back in the 1980s. The buildings that were built post-2002 are dramatically more resilient with time. We want to look at buildings that have been retrofitted with the IBHS fortified code standards. Essentially, we're looking for reinforced roofs, reinforced entryways, storm impact windows and doors, that sort of thing. Long story short, we want the building to perform better than we could hope for when a storm actually occurs. And we also want to get those insurance discounts that we can get if we have wind mitigation, being those structural components I was just talking about, impact resistant windows, etc. The better alternative to this topic would be newer construction condos. Definitely. The newer construction condos have already taken all of these problems into account. They've accounted for them in their HOA fees and in their building standards and codes. All right, look, I know that I just hit you with a lot of stuff with no fluff, and that was on purpose. Naples is a place with a lot of details, and they're very important. And I would rather give you all of them up front than any of the polished stuff that some of these other agents are gonna give you. If you want to dig into any of this with me, specific neighborhoods, price points, budget, or heck, maybe you just want to talk about what you should look out for before you make the move, reach out to me. I'm a no pressure guy. That's how I sleep at night. My number's below. Feel free to use it. Text, call, email. And if you want a deeper dive into any of these, roof age, insurance issues, leave it in the comments below. Maybe I'll use it in my next video. You guys are consistently emailing me and letting me know the facts about the moorings and Aqualane. I love that stuff. Reach out and let me know. So those are 6. Flood zones, underfunded condo HOAs, CDD loaded new construction, older homes with termite exposure, pre-construction with builder risk, and the high-rise hurricane path. But here's what I want you to take away from this video. None of these homes are inherently bad or automatically bad. I have sold all of these home types to buyers who knew exactly what they were getting and are incredibly happy with what they got. The point of this video is to make sure that we don't fall into any potential traps that could occur inside these home types. The trap is buying without knowing what you're buying. Naples, Florida rewards informed buyers, and it punishes those who walk in and assume that the Naples market is the same as Boston, Scottsdale, or New Orleans. It's not the same, it's very different, and it's got a lot of different decisions we have to make. And now you know what to ask for. If you want help with anything specific relating to maybe a home purchase that you're looking at, feel free to reach out or use my free relocation guide. Both of those things are in the description below. Please don't go shopping until you've got the map. And until next time, I'm New Home Nick.